so this is the Experienced Boys Fall intro meeting. What are we going to talk about this morning? Do we meet the coaches? We're going to talk about goals, weekly and daily schedule for experienced and novice kids. We're going to be talking about the racing schedule, coxswain expectations, and this is more like also how are we going to coach the coxswains questions, and then we'll go into a deep dive about what are non-negotiables for us and erg and racing goals. And this is more geared towards our actual rowers. Now parents and novice rowers, you can stick around, that's okay, but that last section will just be for kind of geared towards the experienced rowers. So meet the coaches. I'm Joe McMullen. I've been coaching for 15 years and been in the sport for 23. I'll be planning to be the boys head sweep coach. Means I'll probably take the top 16. Chris, do you want to just give a little spiel about yourself? Actually, could you talk about Lexi and Leslie since you work with them too, if they're not here?
Yeah, I can do that. So I'm Chris Margopoulos. I've been the varsity boys coach at Wakefield since 2020. Started rowing in 2008 and have been coaching on and off since 2017, sweep and scull. So I'll be the lead assistant and head sculling coach if we end up doing any of that. Lexi and Leslie both come from Wakefield as well. They're two of our freshman coaches, both rowed at Washington College and have been with us for 2 years now.
Okay, cool. So, what are your goals as a high school athlete? I think, if you ask any NFL player, they would say, it's to win the Super Bowl. If you ask any NBA player, it's to win the NBA finals. Hockey player, it's to win the Stanley Cup, right? In our sport, on the guys' side, your number one goal is to race the Princess Elizabeth Cup at the Henley Royal Regatta. That's the boys 8. It's to win that. Second is in the US, you want to win youth nationals, whatever the event is, 4, 8, single, double, pair, you want to win that. And then we go on down the line, on the scholastic side, you want to win Stotesbury and or SRAs. I know some teams will split between, they only go to Stoats and then they go to use. Some teams will go to all 3, but that's number 3. Number 4, especially because we're coaching a lot of Virginia kids, is to win VASRAs. Hopefully number 5 is to get recruited in college. Number 6 is the big one for us, is to obviously win the Charles. And then, for heavyweight guys, it's to break 620. For lightweight guys, it's to break 630. And usually if you're under 620, probably going to get recruited to most schools that you want to go to. If you're under 630 as a lightweight guy, you're probably going to get recruited to row at one of the Ivies or Navy or Georgetown or MIT. And then if you're a heavyweight guy, you should be shooting to be over 180 pounds. And if you're trying to do lightweight in college, 160 to 165. So, that's kind of a 15 to 20 pound weight gap. I know it's challenging. I graduated high school weighing like 171. Just do what you can to pack on the pounds or stay in this weight range. Okay. What are our experience goals this fall? So for Chris and I and the other coaches, we want to build fitness. And by the end, we're going to do a final 20-minute test. So we're going to do a bunch of 20-minute tests as part of our selection. Obviously, you want to pull more meters for this 20-minute piece. This will help you get ready for your team in the winter, whether your team does 20-minute pulls or does 6Ks or 5Ks or 10Ks, whatever it is, we want to get you ready. We want to become more technically proficient through all phases of the stroke. So catch, finish, drive, recovery, I'll get into more of that in non-negotiables. We want to become better racers. So, I challenge my rowers in every aspect of practice, whether it's, our drilling, we're racing, our race pieces, we're obviously racing. We want to be smarter racers. We want to understand, okay, if I'm down, how do we come back from being down? If we're up, how do we sustain leads? Stuff like that. We want to become better leaders. And, the big one, our number one requirement for sending crews to the Charles for those crews is to get top half. If you're top half, so if there's 86 entries, you want to be 43rd. 43rd guarantees you an entry for the next year. That's as simple as that. All the other races we go to doesn't have a top half, medaling, whatever requirement. This is our number one. We want to ensure that one Arlington always has entries every single year for whatever crew we put out. Okay. What are our novice goals? So, boat handling, that's a top priority. We want to go slow so we can go fast later. So, safely walking the boat down and putting it in the water is kind of, think about that. We want to talk about basic mechanics of the stroke. Okay. Basic mechanics on the erg. There's going to be a lot of time for the novices, switching between being on the rowing machine and hopping on the water. They translate pretty well. And then we want to be able to build fitness. So kids, I distinctly remember coaching a novice group one fall, and we had a girl who could barely run past the Kennedy Center. And then by the fall, we were running, the Lincoln Steps, and we were doing 24 rounds of stairs over by the Lincoln Stairs. So, that kind of stuff in 2 months, we're looking to transform. And then we want to also learn how to row together. And this is, session 1, and then session 2 is all the above, and learn to race. And we're going to cap off the fall for our novices with the Tail of the Potomac, which is right in front of the boathouse. Parents, we encourage you to come out, meet other parents, and you get to see your kid race. It'll be an awesome experience. So what is our weekly schedule like? If I could start August 1st, I'd be happy to. We're exploring that, but basically August is going to be 3 to 4 practices a week. Obviously people are getting back into the swing of things, finishing up holidays, trips, vacations, or getting ready for school. And then, September 11th, we're going to start having 5 days a week. I am not a Saturday morning coach. I want to give folks that time off. So tentatively right now, I like my sleep. I want to run morning practice as well. It's generally the best water. So, right now, Monday afternoons, Tuesday mornings, Wednesday afternoons, Thursday and Friday morning. And then for our novices, we don't have our coaches here, but I assume they'd want to go something like 4:30 to 6:30. Give folks plenty of time to get out of school, wrap up anything, and then come down to the boathouse, get to experience being on the water for a couple hours. And then tentative Saturday in practice, captain's practice, et cetera, and then trailer loading. No PM practice, nor mandatory Saturday. So I really want to stress, especially for our seniors, you should not be taking the SAT in March, April, or May. You should not be taking the ACT then. You should be doing that now. Please schedule, your testing. Please schedule your college visits for now. We're more than amenable. Hey, I got to leave I got to leave Friday morning practice early to go, visit Syracuse or something. I don't know. I'm just giving you an example. We're fine. Okay, please go take care of it. But if it's, April and you're going on a college visit, what did you do the whole year? Right? This our sport is about the spring. Focus in on that. So for now, please schedule these college visits and SATs and ACTs and everything now. Okay, for the fall. All right, so this is again tentative. We're just looking. I haven't talked to Chris about this, but we're thinking I'm thinking, Monday 4:30 to 6:30. Tuesdays we'll go in the morning, roughly 5:25, 7:25 ish. Again, that may be the latest possible release. I know folks have to get to school at 8:20, So maybe like 7:15, we're at the dock at 7:10, something like that. Okay. And then, trailer loading Saturday. If we're going to the Charles, that trailer load is going to be pushed to like Thursday. Okay. Now, what are you expected to do outside of practice? I think, minimum for all of our experienced rowers and really novices as well, you should be doing at least 5K a day, 20 minutes of cardio. And it can be biking to practice, swimming, hopping on the rowing machine. And then for our top guys who are trying to make the Charles boat, guys who are trying to help us get top half, get top 20, top 30 at the Charles, top 10 at the Hooch, like 10K a day on the erg. And you either do that Mondays and Wednesdays, or you do that Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Those afternoons we don't run. And then, 20 minutes of flexibility work. I know, especially for high school boys, flexibility is always an issue. Just putting the time in to getting more flexible is going to pay off. So what is our experience practice going to look like on a daily basis? We'll start up with 10 minutes of warm up, dynamic warm up, get us going, the coxswains, and maybe we'll figure out captains or something. We'll work through, the kids. And so then we'll try to launch about, head out at 5:40, getting hands on. We're going to be launching and landing. We want to try to be as efficient as possible. And then when we're on the water, lots and lots of mixed states rowing. Of course, if you're with the sculling group, it'll be a little bit different. Chris will speak to that once I'm done with this slide. And then just lots and lots of drilling. And we're going to be, if we stick strictly to sweep, we'll kind of have a development group, which is, going slow so we can go fast later with Chris. And and then a performance group, which is, kind of evolving our skills, working on like mastering the stroke with me, mastering boat performance, fine tuning things. And then, we always want to kind of finish the row with some kind of racing, timed, distance, stroke count. And then when we come back in, finishing the day with some flexibility work, and there may also be some lifting, some core. Chris, can you add a sense for like what the sculling group would be like?
Yeah, it'll kind of depend on, what the entries are around it. But, we'll do something kind of similar where there'll be an assessment of skill and, starting off kind of slow, getting people rowing the same stroke, working on the kind of fundamentals and working up from there, basically. It'll follow somewhat of a similar structure, just probably with a smaller group of guys, since I think the number of kids that are proficient at sculling right now is probably a little bit lower. So there'll be a little bit more of a combination probably of kind of the earlier development there, but the fundamental kind of structure will be kind of similar, I think.
And this program, we're assuming that, okay, we get an 8 for the Charles, and then we get a Cox quad for the Charles, right? We're assuming we get those two boats. But if we only get the Cox quad, clearly we want our best athletes going into the Cox quad. But our limitation right now is, we're only going to have 2 Cox quads at the boat house, right? Because of rack space issues. We may get more. So, our bet, the seat racing will be, Chris is going to have to figure that out. He's going to spend a lot of time figuring that out. So the better athletes would obviously want to be with the sculling coach in the sculling program, if that's kind of where we're headed. Okay. And then if we don't get the Cox quad, okay, then we get the 8. We focus on the 2, making an 8 out of the top 2 8s, and then Chris focuses on the lower crews. So that's kind of our plan. What is novice practice going to look like? So similar to the varsity or experienced, 10 minutes of warm up, and then taking our time to learn how to launch safely. There's going to be a lot of rowing by pairs, 4s and 6s. And then when we're confident, being able to do all 8, but we can't just get to rowing by all 8 before we do pairs rowing and 4s rowing and 6s, right? We want to build that stable platform. I'm going to be doing a lot of drilling, and then hopefully have a little bit of racing in there. And then taking time to learn how to land safely, taking time to learn how to put the boat and oars away safely, and then finishing with some flexibility work. So our novice coaches aren't here, but I mean, this is pretty much a basic format for, you know, what our novices are going to be doing on kind of a daily basis. Okay. Our racing schedule. So the first one is Head of the Potomac, Sunday, October 1st. We're going to try to get everybody at least one race. Some kids may get two in. And then 2 weeks later, we have the Occoquan Chase. And then we have the Head of the Charles, and we'll obviously be finding out about those entries on in early September. And you know, we're putting entries in for the okay. And then we're gonna 2 weeks later, we'll head to the Head of the Hooch. And right now, the program, like, we're saying, okay, if you race to the Charles, you don't have to go to the Hooch. You can volunteer to go. Okay. And then Saturday, November 4th. Oh, and the Hooch is in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So it's about 8.5 hour drive to get down there. Amazing race, really fun. The city and where we launch is like right on top of the river. So it's all right there. It's really cool. Tolson's actually from that part of the country. So it's one of his favorites. And then Tail of the Potomac. So that'll be for the novices, and then Head of the Occoquan Sunday for everyone who didn't race at the Hooch. All right. For our Charles qualifiers, we're going to do 3 20-minute tests. That week of August 28th, we'll have one. You know, right now we just haven't nailed down a date, obviously, with a lot of things in flux, but we'll you know, that's going to be a required test. Then so the week of September 11th, and then the week of September 2nd. So we want to have lineups nailed down by October 7th for the Charles. Okay. And there's going to be a bunch of seat racing to help figure out, you know, whoever between the 9th and the 8th guy is, or the 5th and the 4th guy, or whatever it is. Okay. For our coxswains, you know, what are our expectations for our coxswains? You're the eyes and ears of the boat, so safety is your number one priority. I want to stress to all our coxswains, like, no matter what, you know, please don't be afraid to check it down. Like, stop the boat, put the blades in the water, you know, stop the boat as quickly as you can. If you feel a bump, if you feel a log, we don't want to lose skegs. We don't want to damage, you know, all the teams are providing equipment here. We don't want to just go, hey, WNL, we broke, you know, a bunch of your boats. Good luck with that. And oh, by the way, the Wakefield and the Yorktown boats are great. Like, everyone's responsible to take care of the equipment. Coxswains, if you don't feel safe, please check it down, stop the boat. Okay. Regardless, like, we could be, you know, 3 minutes into a 5-minute piece and you're like, something doesn't feel right. Stop the boat immediately. Right. Like, those kind of things, we just cannot mess around with that. We have to feel safe. Okay. And so if you feel like checking it down, regardless of the situation, please do it. Please stay within 100 meters of the coach's launch. If you get too far ahead, if you can't hear the coach, like, and stroke seats, you know, if you're in an 8 and the coxswain can't see you, coxswain can't see the coach, like, stop the boat, you know, because the megaphones only work so far with airplanes going overhead. There's a lot of traffic from, you know, afternoon commuters and stuff. And so, please, like, stop your shell, wait for the coach to launch. When you're in the shell, like, and the coach is giving you instructions, please raise your hand, regardless of like, hey, okay, like, coxswain, we're doing, you know, body over pauses, and the coxswain, you know, do switches every 10. Okay, hey, I got that. I understand that. All right, cool. Hey, coxswain, do you see that log ahead of you? Hey, do you see that kayaker? Hey, do you see that, you know, that bridge ahead of you? Like, raise your hand. We want to make sure you acknowledge it. And I'm going to keep repeating myself until I see your hand. Right. Steering is your number 2 priority. So you don't need to we need you to be able to not only master the rudder, but be able to master calls to help the crew turn, ensure you launch with the speed coach, and record the meters. So, you know, if we do a 5-minute piece against another 8 and we're going straight towards let's say 14th Street Bridge is a nice straight shot, and your crew loses and the other crew wins, but you recorded more meters, well, that means you steered a lot more than the other crew, right? What if you had had the same meter total as the other crew? You might have actually beat that crew or been tied with them. All right. The third priority, is being able to run the boat. If we say, hey, switches are every 10 strokes and you're doing it on every 15, like you're not helping run the crew. Rowers need rest. You need to be able to make clear calls. Hey, we're switching, 3 and 4 for bow pair into 1, 2. We switch 3 and 4 for bow pair, like knowing how to make the switches, knowing the drills. If you have questions about the drills, please ask them, like, raise your hand or wait for the coaches to repeat themselves after practice. Hey, coach, like, can you please explain what this drill is, what we're trying to accomplish, stuff like that. So being able to run the crew, know the drills, all that kind of stuff, knowing where to steer on the river, where to give your kids rest on the river, all that kind of stuff. And then timing is our number 4 priority. Like, we don't want to see the centipede going down the river. We want to see one crew, one catch, one finish. Whether it's 8 oars in a quad or 8 oars in an 8. We want to strive for perfection. So you should constantly be saying, hey, 2-seat, you're late. Hey, 2-seat.
Oh, you can't do that inside.
What? Okay. All right. Coxswains continued. We expect a lot out of our coxswains. We want you to run the land warm up. We want to ensure we launch on time. It should be very clear, like, hey, we finished our warm up at 5:35. We should be launching at 5:40. Not, oh, we're spending time, I don't know, having a boat meeting beforehand. Like, we want to be able to launch on time. We want to maximize our strokes on the water. And then when we come back, we expect you to record, erg scores. We'll have a Google sheet, have tools on you. You should always have an adjustable 10 mils and 7/16. And then on top of that, like, it's good to have some spare parts, have some nuts, have some washers. I would advise getting, like, a fanny pack, filling it up with the tools you need, always having that on you. And then we're going to expect you to help with selection. Hey, this kid, I think he was pulling harder than the other kid. I think this kid was, the boat was running better when the other kid was in the boat. Those kind of things. We coaches can't see everything, so we rely on our coxswain to help us. And then ensure we land on time. Ensure the shell is put away carefully and secured. If make sure it's strapped outdoors. We're having our bow pairs grab the oars or bow seat or whatever. Like, assign the stern pair to get the stern boat strap. Have the 3 and 4 get the bow boat strap and make sure it's nice and tight. Okay, and then you're going to run the post-practice land workouts and stretching. All right. So that's our spiel for everyone: novice parents, novice kids, experienced coxswains, etc. Are there any questions before we move on to kind of a deep dive just into our experienced rowers? And Chris, did I miss anything? And Tolson, did I miss anything?
Do we mention where this is happening? I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, we're coaching out of
Wow.
TBC. Thank you. And I don't think we've secured like an indoor place. I think most of our indoor stuff like testing might be at TBC, but there's talk of maybe doing it at Wakefield potentially. So, stay tuned. Wow, no questions. Tolson, you can't challenge me with a question?
There's a question in the chat about
Okay.
Arlington Tech.
We can make sure that if we have Arlington Tech kids, we'll get you at the dock. And, like, say we're trying to finish it, say we get to the dock at 7, and usually we wrap up over the course of 15 minutes, just leave, right? Does that make sense? Thank you. Karen L.
Joe, I got a question.
Sure.
What are we doing about ground transportation to and from the boathouse?
In the afternoons,
Afternoons or mornings?
I think, it's gonna come down to carpools. Or kids are gonna have to drive themselves in the morning.
Nailed it. Yeah. So, and one thing and I apologize, my dog is very interested in playing with me right now. So one thing that we've been talking about is ensuring that we set up within the parent Slack. There will be a parent Slack. We're going to set up a channel to have to give people who are carpooling through each of the individual schools the ability to coordinate with one another on their carpools. So like, transportation to Arlington Tech, to Wakefield, to WNL, to Yorktown, to HB Woodlawn. There'll be channel setups specifically for that so that everybody can get their kids to and from school, to and from the boathouse on time.
Cool. All righty. Any other questions? Thank you, Tolson. All righty. So I like to do non-negotiables. This is just, we don't mess around with this kind of stuff. We want all our crew forms completed before your first row. Like, I shouldn't be chasing you around going, hey, we need your swim test form signed, your, whatever the form is. Like, make it easy for the coaches, make it easy for the parents, make it easy for all the volunteers that are required to make this program get off the ground. Get your crew forms in. We're not going to get you on the water. We're not messing around with this. We just are not, it's a non-negotiable. Everyone has passed the swim test, all dues paid up ahead of time, scholarships worked out before the first row. Like this, again, non-negotiable. Please work it out now, plenty of time. Make sure it's paid up, make sure the scholarship's figured out, whatever the case may be. Please schedule your doctors and dentist visits on the afternoons we don't row. Check right now. Oh, I have a dentist appointment September 11th at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, you got 2 months ahead of time right now. I'm telling you right now. Like, please get this sorted out. Move it to Tuesday afternoon or Thursday afternoon or Friday afternoon. Right? Plan your college visits on weekends we don't have a race, and don't miss practice. Like right now, tentatively, we're only really rowing 4.5 days a week when we're on for 5. We're going Monday afternoon to Friday morning. So you get nearly a 3-day weekend every weekend in the fall if we don't have a regatta. Plan those college visits. Take care of this stuff. Take care of your SATs and ACTs, stuff like that. Okay. Our time is limited. Value the coach's time that we have and the time we have on the water with your teammates. It should be athletes informing Coach Joe and Coach Chris on the experience side, and Coach Lexi and Coach Leslie of any absences via email. I know parents, we're all used to, emailing the soccer coach when they're in, elementary or middle school or whatever. Hey, little Johnny can't make it. Like, we're trying to create citizens who by the time they're 18 and graduate from high school can go vote and can take care of their own business. They should be able to tell their coach, hey, I can't make it. It shouldn't be on the parent, the conversation. If a parent needs to email me about something, please include the child in the email. Okay. And then arrive at practice early, 5:25, begin warming up. And, for afternoons, 4:25 or whatever it is, 4:30. Be organized with your schoolwork, start early, get the work in, on time. I can't stress this enough. I know it's easy to think, oh, we got plenty of time. I got a project due in middle of October. Well, middle of October, we're gearing up for the Charles. We want you there. So please take care of your stuff, now. Be coachable. And if Chris tells you something, if Tolson tells you something, oh, okay, that's a good idea. I'll try that out. Please be coachable. I'm a very stubborn rower, but I had 32 coaches by the time in my 8 years of rowing. So I averaged about 4 coaches a year. and every one of them taught me something different. So be coachable. Treat every day like race day, race every day, every piece, every drill, every stroke. That's the only way we're going to get faster. Be positive and be a good teammate. So those are non-negotiables, right? Especially for our coxswains. I think this part gets overlooked a lot, like being a good teammate and being positive. We want our coxswains to understand, like, look, nobody's given a perfect situation every time they get in the boat. When you're in the boat, you know, your calls should always be positive. We don't want to hear contractions like don't, can't. It should just be like, hey, we are 5 strokes off the crew in front of us. Let's catch them. Not, oh, we're 5 strokes down to that crew. Darn. Like, no, like be as positive as possible. Okay. Or be neutral. All right. Non-negotiable. Part 2, attendance at fall practice is expected. Again, take care of your college visits, your SATs, your ACTs, those kind of things. Mandatory is for the winter and spring, right? That's where the real meat of the season is. Okay. Now I've coached several championship crews. All the crews that won had 95% attendance all year. That means each kid averaged about 1 practice gone a month. You know, if we have 20 practices, 95%, that's 1 practice out of 20. Okay. Minimum goal of 90% attendance for grand finalist crews. That's what I've seen over the years. That means 2 practices a month, and you're still, you know, in the running to make the grand final. Okay. And then, you know, I always believe, I 100% believe you should be competing in something every single month. Okay. Now, September, you know, usually the head Potomac, you know, kind of teeters on the end of September, early October. So we're giving that one a pass. But, you know, think like Thanksgiving turkey trot after we're done. Competing in the PBC full ham triathlon, Yorktown relays, W&L Tri, the Urge sprints, Crash Bees, etc. Something you're competing in every single month that's just getting those competitive juices going. Okay, for our non-negotiables, this is for our sweep group, but I know there's a lot that can be carried over into the sculling group. So, you know, we want to have a 90-degree angle of our shins at the catch. So if you cannot get there, this may be because of flexibility issues, but we want to have all 8 of our rowers or all 4 of our rowers in a quad of the 4 to have 90-degree angle at the shins at the catch. We want our hands to ski slope up to the catch. Means your hands, as you're coming into the catch, you're you're unweighting that handle and the blade falls in. We have relaxed shoulders and hands. We want a quick catch. We want a V splash. We don't want big V, backsplash. We're putting water behind us. You want it just the water to kind of open up and you have that nice solid connection at the front end. A long suspended horizontal stroke, flat outside wrist to the finish, flat low back sitting on the middle of your butt, proper sequencing of setting the body angle before the knees break, so getting the handle out, getting the body over, then breaking the knees as we come up. Okay. One concept I've always stressed is like the last thing that you set with the stroke before you start rowing is the first thing you're going to use. So if you're still, making your arms straight as you're coming into the catch, first thing you're going to grab is with your arms. But if your arms are nice and straight, the body's set, first thing you're going to do on the catch is going to be drive with the legs. And as we know, the legs are the biggest part of muscle group we want to use for rowing. We strive for impeccable timing. 1 catch, 1 finish for all 8 rowers or all 4 rowers. We want to be squared up by the ankles, and then I believe in a straight inside arm. Okay, so as you can see, we want a nice 90-degree angle at the catch. He actually might be a little bit over that, but that's what we're looking for. Okay, now this was a U17 4 in 2021. I coached these guys. They were in the B final. I think they were 8th or something, so maybe just shy of top. Maybe they were top. Yeah, they were 2nd in the B final, so maybe they were top 10. So we got all, these 2 guys were freshmen, and then you have a sophomore and a sophomore. This sophomore went on to win Stotesbury. This was a backup for our trip to Henley. He was the bow man. And this is what we're looking for. a nice relaxed wrist coming into that finish, relaxed shoulders versus this thing. We don't want motorcycle finish, okay? So we want a nice, relaxed, flat outside wrist. You're gonna have more control over the handle when your wrist is flat and you can, push that handle down to tap down and away. Okay. This is kind of this guy over here. He's now at Cornell. He won Stotesbury SRAs and he just won the 4th varsity at the Eastern Sprints this year. And he's very, very stiff, very tough racer. But this took a lot. This was his junior year and it took a lot. You can see how much, that he's sitting almost on the back of his seat. So we want to sit on the middle of the seat versus this guy who was sitting on the middle of his seat right there and is a little bit more upright, and that lower back is nice and is a little bit straighter. Okay. And then relax shoulders. So we don't want the shoulders by the ears. We want the shoulders in their socket. Okay. This guy actually just won, Coach Tolson and I coached him. He won the U23 lightweight pair and the open lightweight pair at Club Nationals on Sunday. He's been in the Cornell varsity lightweight 8 for 2 years now as a freshman and a senior. He won SRAs in 2019, so he's very decorated, but this is an off stroke for him. And I think now he's back on starboard. So the shoulders they're way back down to where they should be. So we want shoulders nice and relaxed. Okay. And then I coach a straight inside arm. So I want to see that arm, nice and straight as we're twisting out with the rigor, not this bent thing. Okay. So we'll go over that again. 90-degree angle at the shins of the catch. We ski slope the hands up to the catch, that handle, letting it drop in. Relax shoulders and hands. Quick catch. We want a V splash catch. Long, suspended horizontal stroke. Flat outside wrist at the catch, at the finish. Flat lower back sitting in the middle of your butt. Proper sequencing, relaxed shoulders, et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of the stuff, there's nothing I'm doing that's like, oh, this is extreme. This is different. You will be able to go back to your home program, Yorktown, WNL, whatever the team is, Wakefield, and you'll be able to blend right back in with your guys. There's nothing here where I'm going, okay, we're going to ask for extreme reach. We're going to very big layback. None of that. That's not what we're looking for here. Right. We're looking to just all be on the same page, make it as even as possible, as smooth as possible. All right. I think there was a bunch of questions. Swimming ability. Okay. All right. Racing goals. So, we want to win and or medal at all our local head races, Head of Potomac, Occoquan Chase, and the Hodo for those crews who race at those. And then we want to be top 20 at the Charles. This is really what we want to be like for very fast crews. Obviously, top half is the #1 priority going into the Charles. And then we want to be top 10 of the Hooch. You still are going to have some very, very fast crews there. Sarasota goes there, Sarasota Crew, Cincinnati Juniors. I think New Trier sometimes goes to the Hooch. So those are a very fast team. Atlanta Juniors are fast. So going to the Hooch, being top 10 there, that's a very strong result. And then for the winner, you want to be top 20 at the PBC full hand. And this includes, you're racing against college guys, racing against masters, you're racing against club guys. So you want to be top 10 and top 20. Win and or medal Yorktown relays. This is the plug for Yorktown. You want to win and or medal at WNL Tri. That's the plug for them. And then maybe one day Wakefield will also be hosting some kind of indoor event, right, Chris?
Yeah, we'll get right on that.
And then, at Erg Sprints, you want to win and medal in your 2K event, whether it's the 20-minute, if you're a middle schooler, the 1K event, the 2K, the dash, the 500, the relay, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then, if you think you're fast enough, going to Crash Bees. And I really should amend this to World Indoor Championships, because sometimes it'll be on the like last year, I think it was in Toronto. So, being able to go to that. That's speed. All right, so for your spring goals, you want to win all your local races. You want to win Vazras in the 1V and 2V. You want to win the 8 points trophy. Dang it. Win the team wide points trophy. And is there a Vazra team wide points trophy, Chris? Because I know there is one for Wamira.
I don't remember off the top of my head. I don't.
Okay.
I think it's just boys and girls. I don't think there's an overall team.
Okay. Maybe we need to make them have that. We'll tell Dorothy. All right. You want to be able to qualify crews for youths. Okay. Vazra is a qualifier. You have to win your event at Vazra's to go. And if you're in the varsity, it's the U19-8. If you're in the varsity 4, it's U19-4. We may need to, I think Tolson's maybe working on adding straight 4 events. And then U17s, that might have to be added, but sometimes that's the junior 8 or it's a freshman 8 or whatever. And U17-4. And I obviously excluded the sculling events, but I know Wakefield's geared towards sweep. And then you want a grand final crew, as many crews as possible at Stoughton, medal at Stoughton. And I want to say like qualify for Henley, but you don't really qualify for it unless you have to go through the time trial. If you win Stoughton, like you're in a pretty good spot to not have to go through the time trial at Henley. And then grand final crews at SRAs, medal at SRAs, win SRAs, and then you want to make grand finals at youths, medal youths, win youths. Okay. And then for Henley, you want to make it to Friday. That's top 8. And Saturday's the quarterfinals, and then Sunday is the grand final, and then you want to win that. So this right here, that right there, you're the top dog in the world of all scholastic boys rowing if you can win. Okay. Erg goals. What are the standards? I think some of this might be a little eye-popping, but this is what, if you are on a championship team, hitting these metrics will put you in a position for success, right? If you have a freshman crew and you have several guys breaking 7, last year, Jackson Reed had I believe 702 boat average. They medaled at Stotesbury, and I believe they medaled at SRAs, right? They had a bunch of guys under 7 minutes. Yorktown freshmen had several guys under 7 minutes. I think they were 704, 705, made the grand final at Stotesbury and SRAs, right? Not everyone's going to do this. We get that, but that's your goal as a freshman, is to break 7 minutes. For sophomores, it's to break 650. For juniors, it's to break 640. For seniors, it's to break 630. Okay. Stotesbury 2022, I had a crew that was a 628. I had 4 seniors sub 630, and then 1 senior going 604. That put us in a position to make the grand final. We were top 3 in the time trial, and then anything can happen in the final. We ended up winning it. So, these kind of metrics, if you are doing them and you are training for them and you're putting extra work in, you are putting your team and your crew in a position to make grand finals, at Stotesbury SRAs and to winning. That right there. If you're over 200 pounds, you should be breaking 620. If you're sub 150, we get it. Not everyone is, a massive 6'4" guy going, 604. We get it. But if you're under 150, like, and you're a senior, try to break 640. That's going to be pretty darn quick. For juniors, break 650. For sophomores, break 7. We know it's tough. And then top guys should be going 620. If you're a championship crew, 2019, I had 3 guys sub 620, and we had a 626 boat average, 1 SRA. So that put us in a position for winning it. Like, that's what your top guys should be doing on the team. Okay. Top crews average sub 630s for Stoughton winning, and then top crews for making the quarterfinals and winning at Henley. I know this is like, oh my God, these are college scores. Well, the fastest high school crews in the world would be able to race against, and beat college freshman crews who are sub 620. St. Paul's was 618 in 2022. Eaton was a 6:13. There was a Australian crew that was a 6:15. So it just goes on and on. That's what the fastest crews in the world are doing. And St. Paul's School in London, they have a student body of 950 boys and girls. So they have 425 boys who go to the school, and they're able to get sub 620. So it's not like you need 1,000 boys to find, kids who can do this. You have to be able to train and row really well and row smart, and you can do these scores. So for our 20-minute poll, by the end of the fall, we want to coach, our guys to be sub 153. Okay. For our juniors, you want to be sub 148. Okay. For seniors, you want to break 144. So this roughly equates, if you add, for seniors, if you're sub 145 for 6K, that's under 21, you're going to be pretty darn quick, right? I think for 5K, you want to be sub 17 minutes. So that's for seniors, that's a 142 5K. So this roughly translates between the two. That's where seniors want to be. You want to be fast in Stotesbury. I had in 2022, I had a 2053 crew. The year in 2019, winning crew, we were 2043. So that's roughly where you want to be if you're a senior. If you're a junior, you want to break for 6K, you want to be sub 150. Okay. Which for 20 minutes, this is 2 minutes shorter. You want to be under 148. Okay. And then, we want to we should have everybody under 2 minutes. Okay. And then in my teams, like, I don't want to see kids just walking around shirtless who haven't earned it. Okay. You should be 148 if you're going to walk around with your t-shirt off. Okay. For 20 minutes. And then for our top kids, elite guys, and I've coached 3 guys who've broken 20 minutes for 6K. One is at BU right now. He was a freshman, and he was the only freshman at U23 selection camp. He ended up getting sick and he got injured, but he broke 140 for 6K his senior year. I mean, very, very fast. And then, going back to your home teams, like, everybody should be under 20 for under 2, breaking 5K for so if we go into erg sprints and I see a kid I coached, at Wakefield or whatever, and he rode for me, like, no questions asked, and you do the 20-minute piece, you should be under 2. That's baseline level of fitness. Okay. Oh, hey, guess what? I'm done. So any other questions? All right. Okay. Any final questions? I can give everyone 8 minutes back. Tulson, any other thing? Chris, anything else I missed?
The one thing that I will add that I don't think we talked about was that I think the pricing was posted in the chat, but we are going to offer scholarships as well. Just if you have any questions about that, or think you might want a scholarship, come talk to a coach.
Actually, I would leave that. I think the scholarship issue should really be left up to parents. The less I know about scholarships, probably the better. That's just my opinion.
That's fine. That it could be someone on the board then, but
yeah, Kim or Michelle or Michael Kim, so on and so forth. I think just leave the coaches out of financial discussions. In my opinion.
Guys, if parents just email treasurer@onearlingtonrowing.org, treasurer@onearlingtonrowing.org, I'll drop it in the chat. That's the best way to go to ask about scholarships.
Also, if you feel like sponsoring someone for a scholarship, we also welcome that as well. If you go, oh, I'm paying for my kid, and I would be happy to help out and see a rower who's, family struggling, they want to come out and row, great. Okay, we'll welcome that as well. And I think there's Tulsa, can you do the link for like donations too? I don't know if that's really going to help here.
Yeah, that link is live on our website, which is, onearlingtonrowing.org. And as Kim points out, there's a payment plan. Like if you want to split your the cost of registration into a couple of payments, obviously you can do that. We're set up to do that. And if anybody, is on this call is like, I don't know, the CEO of Lockheed Martin, and Lockheed Martin wants to sponsor One Arlington Rowing, we're not going to say no to that. That'd be fine by all of us, I think. Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
This is Kim. I just want to jump in and say that for any rowers on the call, I think it'd be great if you all could just recruit a friend. If you have a friend that hasn't signed up yet or is unsure about fall, like definitely help us talk up this program.
Kim,
Or it
question
could be
for
amazing.
you.
Yep.
What would be, so say we start, what do we start like? So August 28th or 21st, something like that. What's like the last day to sign up?
There's a couple dates. One of them, like one guarantees you get your uni early, and I think that's coming up like on July 24th, but I think you can sign up till into August. And I actually don't have that date memorized off the top of my head. Does anyone else? Michelle?
I've got it. So initially we had said that the deadline to register to get a unisuit is July 24, but we have that was on the assumption that we're going with one vendor. We have I believe we have decided to go with a different vendor. Still keep July 24 in your head, but I believe that we're going to be able to push back that registration deadline to guarantee a unisuit in time for fall racing to like August 7th or 8th. So it pushes it back a couple of weeks, which is nice for everybody. The only deadline that we have for experienced registration, I believe, is Joe, I think we said we just want everybody signed up. We want to know what our group is by August 20th, so we know how many people to expect. For learn to row / inexperienced registration, that program starts I believe it's the first 4-week block is starts up on September 5th. So we're just deadline for that is September 4th. And then we have a second 4-week block that starts in October. And the registration deadline for that will be the day before it starts. All these deadlines, to the extent that they're not already, will be up on our website shortly.
I think what if we have 20-ish, 18-ish rowers and 2 coxswains signed up by like July 24th, like we can start working out. We got all the paperwork in. We can start figuring out dates we want to go down to the boathouse and like start, just splashing around, getting some strokes in. So that could be as early as August 1st if we get. So I'm happy to get out and just get on the water, get to know names to faces, have some fun, row up to the top, or row down to 14th or whatever it is. So if we get folks' paperwork in, like the earlier the better. I know, really we're going to get going that week of, what is it, August 28th or something like that. That's like, okay, hey, we're locked in then, but earlier the better. What?
August 21st is the kickoff week. Sorry.
Okay. So August 21st, but I'm happy to go out even earlier. Like maybe we meet on, Tuesday morning and we go out on Thursday morning as well, just to get some strokes and stuff like that. So. All right, I think we're good. Are we cool? All right, I'm going to stop sharing. And wraps this up. Tolson, do you call it?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like all the questions that have rolled in so far are have been answered. If you have any additional questions, as I said earlier, anything that pertains to financial questions, please email treasurer@onearlingtonrowing.org. If you have questions that relate more to like how the program is going to be run, stuff like that, email info@onearlingtonrowing.org, which I just dropped into the chat, also available on our website. And we'll that I believe I have that set up to to Joe and I. So, we'll both see it. If it's a question for the girls squad, I'll handle. If it's a question for the boys squad, he'll handle. So y'all don't have to worry about remembering a whole lot of email addresses, particularly somebody with a weird name that's hard to spell. Like Joe.
Helen is asking a great question. Yes, we will. I cannot do 5 mornings a week. No, Tolson can pull that off. The guys team will be going 3 mornings a week and 2 afternoons a week. Okay.
And
We haven't finalized exactly what, but I know Friday, we are definitely going Friday morning. No matter what, the guys team will be going Friday morning so that you can get that long weekend in if you need to head out of town. Okay.
and we
If there's
did have-
one, if
on,
go ahead.
On the girls' side, Joe, we did have some questions come in about whether it made sense to do 5 mornings a week, 5 weekday mornings a week. And I invited people to message me about scheduling conflicts and stuff like that. I'll repeat here that if you know of a parent of a girl who is like thinking, oh, 5 mornings a week sounds like too much, please do get in touch with me, because if we need to adjust, we can adjust. And Joe, do you think like if people have input on like which afternoons a week are going to be best for like, say, if kids are in marching band or whatever, should they get in touch with you, or just we'll just figure it out on our own and we'll announce the schedule? Which do you prefer?
I'm willing to take any input. Okay. Totally willing to take any input, but no matter what, it's in stone. Friday morning, we're having practice. Like we could run 4 afternoons a week, Monday through Thursday. It could be, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever, morning practice, but we're definitely having Friday morning practice. And I know Chris is used to running 5 practices a week in the morning. I know he's used to that, but I know the Wakefield crowd loves their mornings. I can't do that. Okay. All righty.
Where will the recording be available?
Michelle, you got input on that?
I assume the website. Or in Slack. I'm not sure. Where do you want to put it?
I'll do my best to if you send me the data file, I'll see if we can post it on the website, or at least you know what, I can put it on YouTube and figure out a way to link it from the website if that's okay.
YouTube makes sense. Okay.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I'm really excited to get going. Rowers, let's do it. Let's have a lot of fun. Let's get racing. Let's work
man.
hard.
Yeah, man.
All right. I'm rolling out. See you guys.
Later, everybody.
Yep.